evening and welcome to the November 12th, 2019 meeting of the Ashland Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to call the meeting to order and also like to welcome our newest associate member, Nathan Band, who is here tonight, and I hope you enjoy your work on the board, and we look forward to working with you. First order of business is election of officers. Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 12 provides that each zoning board of appeals shall elect annually a chairman from its own number and a clerk. And thus, because our terms begin September 1st, and this is our first meeting since September 1st, that should be the first order of business. The chairman and the clerk must be one of the three members, Stu, Brian, or myself, but everyone, associate members and members, can vote for that. So first order of business is chairman. Stu or Brian, would either of you like to serve as chairman for the coming year?
I think you two.
I'll pass.
I'll pass.
I somehow get the sense that we're standing in line and you two have stepped back, and that left me standing to the front.
Yep.
Would someone wish to make a motion then with respect to appointing a chairman for the coming year?
I make a motion that we elect John as chairman for the coming year.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay. Clerk, who would like to be clerk? Stu, Brian?
I'll nominate Brian.
I hear a motion, I second that.
Do we have a clerk before?
We do, I think it's you.
Oh,
But I don't think we've had to do anything as a clerk because we have Emma, who
Yeah.
does all of our work for us.
so,
So it's a good position to accept.
all right.
I think there's been a motion made and seconded to appoint Brian Forrestall as our clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Very good, that is out of the way. And we have a public hearing tonight, and that will be our next order of business. I will read. Actually, it's not supposed to start till 7:05, so I have to, they have to technically wait for 2 minutes, I believe, so apologize, folks, for that.
What do you think? I think we have them.
Oh, the site plan, excellent, that was what we were looking for.
Thank you.
Extra.
Emma has an extra.
Yeah, I think this was perhaps for Rob. Okay, it looks like it's 7:05, so why don't we go forward then? I will read the notice that was published twice in the Metro West Daily News. The Ashland Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 12th, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the Board of Selectmen Meeting Room, second floor, Ashland Town Hall, 101 Main Street, Ashland, Mass., to hear the petition of Kristen Grimes of Ashland, Massachusetts, requesting an accessory family dwelling unit, special family dwelling unit I'm sorry, requested an accessory family dwelling unit special permit per Chapter 40A, Section 6 of the Massachusetts Zoning Act and Chapter 282, Section 7.6, accessory family dwelling unit, and 9.3, special permits of the Ashland bylaws to allow for the construction of an addition to be used as an accessory family dwelling unit. The property in question is located at 244 Prospect Street, Assessors Map 29, Lot 078, in the Residential A zoning district. Parties wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at the time and place indicated above. Case number SP 1-20. Materials may be viewed at Town Hall during normal business hours or at www.ashlandmass.com/70-20-244-prospect-special-permit. For more information or to submit comments, please contact Emma Snellings at 508-532-0100, extension 7930, or at esnellings@ashlandmass.com. John Trefethen, Chairman, Ashland Zoning Board of Appeals. Very good. With that having been said, one thing I forgot to state at the start of the meeting, so I'll insert it now. This meeting is being broadcast live on WACA-TV, our local cable access channel. If there is anybody else in the room who is recording the meeting either via audio or video means, you have every right to do so, but we just ask you to notify us at this time. So if anyone is doing so, if you would please let us know.
I'm not, but I will now,
Oh, okay.
just so you know.
Your name?
And we just have your name, please?
Cam Mims.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I put it here?
Sure, that's fine. That being said, if the applicant would step forward, come to the podium there, and identify yourself and make your presentation.
Kristen Grimes, my husband Michael. My two parents are there in the room as well, and they currently live in New Hampshire. When Michael and I bought this house about 15 years ago, we always hoped that someday they would come and join us. So now, while they're still young enough to spend a lot of time with their grandchildren, we want them to move here. They love the town of Ashland. My mother comes here every week as it is to help with the kids, so we figured now was an opportune time. They're both retiring, so that's why we're here today.
Okay, now, you've filled out the application and you're seeking a special permit under the zoning laws for an accessory family dwelling unit, and submitted some plans together with that application. And thank you tonight for submitting a site plan that will help us in what's required as we consider this matter. As I understand it, there is at present a two-story house on the property,
There is.
and if I am understanding the plans correctly, and please, everybody else on the board, feel free to ask questions as we go along. I don't mean to turn this into a soliloquy. The plan is to build the accessory family unit to the rear of the existing home. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that will be a one-story building
It will.
and no basement?
There will be a basement.
There will be a basement?
Yes.
Okay. Will it be a finished basement or an unfinished basement?
Unfinished.
Unfinished, okay.
We figure since they've been in their house for 41 years, they have a lot of stuff to bring with them.
one of the things we have to determine in considering the plan is whether or not the proposed structure, and this, we've had several accessory family unit applications come before us. Most of them have involved requests to build a unit, say in a basement or on a second floor of an already existing building. So that we hadn't had to consider this issue, but one of the issues we have to consider is whether or not the proposed new structure complies with the setback requirements of an RA district, which your property is in, for lot frontage, front yard setback, side yard, and rear yard setback. The lot frontage is 150 feet, and as I'm looking at the site plan, it looks like the frontage on Prospect Street is only 100 feet.
No, that's not right.
Then,
On Prospect Street? It's much more than that, isn't it?
Stu or
it's
Brian,
100 and-
Nate?
It looks like 208.
Yeah,
It's 200, but the 100 feet.
Well, no,
what is
well,
that?
it's 208 feet from Prospect Street to the property, which would be the front yard setback.
Correct.
But I'm looking at the lot frontage, which has to be 150 feet, according to the RA zoning district, and it looks like it's only 100 feet.
So
Now,
that's,
as you go up a certain 180 feet, it then becomes, looks like 100 feet for what is fronted on Prospect Street, and then extends over another 100 feet, but that's behind property apparently owned by a Joseph Tosti. Does everybody follow what I'm saying on this?
I do, yep. You are correct.
So,
Right.
it looks like we're
so that part is in Holliston.
That part is in Holliston. Ashland Street is in Holliston.
Ashland Street is, so our property is divided between Ashland and Holliston.
Oh, okay.
So you're looking, so that part to the right, if you see the line that goes through it,
Yep.
that's where our property is divided. So we actually pay taxes to Ashland and Holliston.
Lucky, huh?
Yeah, right?
Okay, well, okay, let me, I just wanna make sure I got this straight,
No
because if the minimum lot frontage is only 100 feet and not 150 feet, then we have a
Pre-existing, non-conforming.
pre-existing non-conforming use.
Yep.
And are we going to need a
I don't,
variance for that?
I don't believe that we do.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
They're not changing the,
I'm sorry?
they're not changing the street frontage, so
No, but,
not like making the pre-existing non-conforming condition worse.
I don't think so.
okay.
And it looks like the left side setback is 23.5 feet.
Yeah, I mean,
Needs-
right,
needs 10, yeah.
okay.
And your lot goes
It goes way back.
All the way into the
Yeah.
back.
way back, all right.
It does.
So
It's
that
like
other
over,
line.
it's over 2 acres, isn't it?
2.38 acres.
Yep. Okay.
So that other line that we see just past the shed is,
I'm not sure what that is,
okay.
but, yeah, so
Actually,
our land goes beyond that.
That might be a fold in the.
So
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I do have the full plan if you wanna
Paper,
look at it.
please. That,
Yes, I
that might be helpful, just to,
That line you're looking at, I think, is the
Oh, it was
fold.
the fold in the paper.
Good call.
ah. Okay.
Look at that, yeah.
Oh, while we're passing things around, I realized your copy of the application doesn't have the second page, because it was on the back, so I'm just gonna pass this around.
Okay,
Get everyone their copy.
good, okay.
There's not a ton of information.
That's
Yeah,
helpful to see
okay.
that,
Yeah, the fold.
yeah,
Gets you every time.
okay.
Yeah, that's what that. Yeah.
of denial from the building inspector with this?
Yes,
It's the second page of
the building
application.
inspector
It's
did
not in what
deny
she
the
did
application in his
tonight.
system,
It's previous, I mean,
and
I-
messaged them through that
I got
system.
this off.
Okay.
I don't have a printed letter, but I can add that to their file.
I think we need to, cause
Yeah,
it's,
because otherwise we don't know why
we're
they're here.
incomplete, but,
Okay.
I believe you.
Yes.
Thank you for
Okay, so it
sharing.
appears that we've met the minimum lot frontage as a pre-existing non-conforming use. The minimum front yard of 40 feet has been well met. The minimum side yard requirement of 10 has been met, and the minimum rear yard of 30 has clearly been met. The accessory family dwelling unit special permit differs in some respects from other special permit applications that we have to consider, or that we do consider, in that there is a special section under chapter 282 of the bylaws in Ashland, mainly section 7.6, that deals exclusively with accessory family dwelling units. And one of the issues that we have to decide as to whether there is an adequate provision is made for the disposal of sewage, waste, and drainage generated by the occupancy of the accessory unit. Is the property furnished with town water?
It is.
And how about sewage?
Yep.
Town sewer as
Yep.
well? Okay. 7.6.5 of the bylaws indicate that adequate provision is determined by the building inspector shall be provided for ingress and egress to the outside of each unit separately. Now, looking at the drawings that were attached to the application, clearly, I'm assuming there's a front house to, or a front door to the existing home. How is the egress in and out for the unit that is proposed to be built as an accessory dwelling unit?
So their own front door, you mean?
Yeah,
So that's, if you look at the plan, it's on the right-hand side. It
okay,
comes
right here.
into the
Yep,
living
okay.
space.
Yep, and one up there. So there are two, one going into what's denoted as the living room.
Yep.
And then another one going into the, from the kitchen out to the deck.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep.
And will is there also going to be an entrance or a
Yes.
doorway that connects the two units?
Yes, you'll see that,
Right in here?
Yep.
Yep, okay. And so the interior doorway also has to be there, and that appears to have been met. Item 7.6.7 is area limitation. And it says that such accessory unit shall be limited to a maximum of 25% in floor area of the principal residence, or 800 square feet, whichever is greater, exclusive of any garage, shed, or similar structure or other accessory use attached to the dwelling. In looking at the plans, I can't tell how many square feet there are
right.
in your house, to then try and add up the square footage of the accessory dwelling unit. Clearly, it appears to be
So it comes out to 794 square feet for their
794
dwelling.
square feet.
Yes. The room totals 666, but the 794 includes
Now, that
stairwell
doesn't
closets.
include the unfinished basement, I'm
It does
assuming.
not, no.
Okay.
No.
And how many square feet in the original home?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. Actually, I didn't know you were gonna ask me, cause I have no idea.
Well, if the accessory dwelling unit is 794 square feet.
Right,
It would be less than 800 square feet, so it would come within the restriction, because I'm assuming there's more than 800 square feet in the,
we can't go higher than 800 based on the square
Yeah.
footage of our house, yes.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, that's right, so 794 is,
it's
Right.
less than the 800.
yeah,
But does the basement count?
No.
towards the 800?
not as living space, no.
Okay.
If it was finished.
And I
it
know
would
as a
be good.
builder, you have experience with that, so
Yeah,
we would be able, if we were to decide that we wanted to grant the special permit, we could put a restriction on the basement that it cannot be,
well, they would have to
used for
come
dwelling purposes.
they'd have to come
before
for a
us.
permit to get,
Yeah.
to finish the basement in
Right.
theory, so,
Okay.
yeah, that would be okay.
Okay, so we meet with that. 7.6.8, floor plans of the accessory unit and principal residence, we have that now. 7.6.9, parking. Provisions for off-street parking for dwellers of both units shall be provided in such a fashion as is consistent with the character of the neighborhood, as determined by the building inspector after consultation with the town planner. Okay? What is the present parking situation now?
Right now, we have a driveway that can fit 6 cars. Presently, we have 2.
Okay, there's no garage into a
No
parking?
garage.
Okay, it's the driveway. And on the site plan,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that is the driveway in the middle of the, coming in from
Yes.
Prospect Street?
Coming in, yep, comes up, then goes off to the right, and that's where the,
So it comes up
It's on the
and
right-hand
then
side.
sort of
I
goes
took
off in
I
this.
took a picture of the parking area. If you'd like me to pass it around, I certainly can. Like to
That would
see
be
it.
helpful, but I think we would like to see it, if possible.
So the house would be off to the left.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can take more too in the daylight.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions, Stu, Brian, Nate?
No. So you can kinda see, that's a Google Earth picture of it, you can see the driveway comes
Yeah,
up
no,
that
I
way.
saw from Google, so it comes up, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
looks like they have plenty of room for that.
Google map. We're looking at a Google map, picture from the sky looking down on the driveway, which gives us a little bit better idea of where the driveway goes and in relation to where the present building is. Thank you for that.
I don't think we need to even really worry about it, it comes under the building inspector's purview
Yeah,
anyway, right? So-
exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question on the proposed addition. Will there be any special access provisions made for those entranceways, like ramps or?
So they'll definitely have a walkway. It's all flat land that will come from the driveway. You know, at this point, I don't think ramps are necessary, but, you know,
So it's
Well-
just one step to get in,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
be a short ramp.
Mhm.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Anything else you would like to say at this point?
I don't think so.
Nothing.
As the public notice stated, we invited comments from the general public to be submitted in advance to our assistant town planner, either in writing or via email, or I suppose even telephone calls. Emma, did you receive any such communications?
No, the planning office hasn't received any public comment on this case.
Okay. Well, at this point, we open the hearing up for public comment. So if there is anybody here who wishes to be heard on this proposal, please step up to the microphone. If you folks don't mind having a seat again. Hi. And just please identify yourself, name and address if you would, please.
My name is Reginald Mims, at 15 Raymond Way. Back up to the property at 244 Prospect Street. Former Board of Health member from 2000 to 2009. Couple quick things I just wanted to mention that obviously hasn't been brought up. There's a culvert that runs between the two properties. The initial property that is at 244 was built by the Domestico family, who the mother was a policewoman in town, the father was a World War II veteran. The house was built for their son, Charles Buddy Domestico, still current resident of Ashland, Esquire, he's a lawyer, built for him. They sold to the Grimes right here, but there's a couple little issues that I don't think too many people are aware of. One, there is a stream, not year-round, that runs between the properties. Now, my family's home was built in I want to say 52, and my family has had that particular residence since 61 or 60. My mother, when Raymond Way was connected to Elliott Circle, Steve Zanella, Sergeant Steve Zanella of the Ashland Police Department, and Bob LaPointe built 23 houses connecting Elliott Street to Raymond Way. I get a lot of water in my basement. Now, granted, the house is old, but I get a lot of water in my basement. There's, like I said, a stream that runs between the two homes that are probably, the stream's probably less than 100 feet from my basement. And it, like I said, it doesn't flood year-round. But when you get water, it's a problem. Mold, the other issues, I mean, like I said, I was on the Board of Health for 9 years, so I'm aware of that. And the other thing is that the Domesticos, now, I graduated Ashland High School in 1975. The Domesticos, when they lived there, Vincent Domestico, the father, had an underground garage that was probably from the original family house on Prospect Street, back maybe 150, 200 feet. It was a half in-ground, half out-of-the-ground garage. It was, you know, he dug a culvert and had cars in there. That has, over the years, now, like I said, I've been here a long time, it collapsed, trees have built on it, or have grown on it, but nothing was ever done in remediation for that. Now, I don't know if there's anything in there anymore, but that's probably within 50 feet of where the proposal is to have this addition done. As I say, I don't know if there's oil in there. I don't know what's in there, but I recall it because I was old enough at the time. I turned 62 in September, and firsthand knowledge. I was in that garage. I hung around with Charles Buddy Domestico and Jimmy Domestico and Eddie Domestico and all of them. So there probably aren't too many people around. My mother's still alive. She's 86. But she couldn't come up here and tell you that. But I'm aware of it only because I was around at that time. Not too many of us are left, you know, in town for that length of time. So those are just a couple of things. Like I say, I get water in my basement every spring. Every spring. It's a pain in the ass. Excuse my language, but it is. I'm wondering, with a basement put in, when they built those houses up, my mother built one next door in 1989. My sister built one across the street in 1990. My mother put in 18 inches of crushed stone in her basement just to make sure the water didn't come into the basement, because she was aware, because she had the house before I did, she was aware of the water problem, because we sit right at the base of the hill with the water tower on Cedar Street, and I'm sure you're aware of it, is right at the top of that hill, and we are on the west side of that. So any water that comes down, when they put that development in of 23 houses, comes right down the hill. And I'm just wondering, is that gonna exacerbate the situation? Is that gonna put more water into my basement? Like I said, my mother built a house right next door because my family, it was a dead-end street. They owned the lots at the end of the dead-end street. So when she built her house, she goes, I don't wanna have the problems that I had at 15. She's right next door at 25, and like I said, she put in 18 to 20 inches of crushed stone, so she didn't get water in her basement. But that wasn't done by Mr. Raymond, who, Raymond Way, built the houses. And the house that I'm in right now is the original house that he built for himself. And they didn't, in 1952, they weren't thinking about that kind of thing. But as I say, I get water every spring, and there's that little stream that runs back there, and I'm just wondering, is it gonna push more water my way? That becomes an issue for me. So that's the two concerns I have. If you have any questions for me, that would be fine, but as I said, I've been around for quite a while.
Okay, thank you. The stream, this is an above-ground stream, I'm assuming?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But as I say, it doesn't run every year. It's I would say equivalent to a vernal pool. It's there maybe 2 to 3, maybe 4 months out of the year, no more than that unless we get a lot of rain. And then it can be, and it's not really deep. It's probably 6 or 7 feet wide, and, when it gets deep, it's less than a foot of water. But, as groundwater and as water moves, and in Ashland, we've got issues in certain places in the town that, it's a problem. So that's, go ahead.
On whose property is the stream?
I believe it's on the Grimes property. It's behind my fence by about 30 feet. So it's Grimes' property. But it runs between the house and the proposed building that they're going to do and the property of 15, and then that garage, half underground garage, is like basically right on that stream. But as I say, it's all grown in now. I mean, as a kid, 10 or 15 years old, it was still above the ground. Everybody was still there. Mr. and Mrs. Domestico were still alive at that time. But as I say, the only other person that I'm aware of, besides my mother being 86, would be Charlie Buddy Domestico, who is a lawyer that still lives in Ashland. He graduated Ashland High School a year ahead of me.
Could you point that out on the site plan?
Sure.
And you just might wanna mark it where you think it is.
Well, I know it is. I can go up there right now, and we just have the rain. Their house is there, 15 is right about there, and the stream comes in from here and runs right about there.
We'll provide you with a copy of that drawing for your records.
We staked from the house
Whoops.
where.
Yes, we'll have you back up at the microphone, okay? Now, as you've drawn the stream, it runs along the side of their property?
Yes.
Okay.
And as I said, it's not a year-round occurrence. This occurs maybe 2 to 3 months out of the year. If it's a heavy, wet year, maybe 4 months, but no more than that. Summertime, it's dry. Summertime, it's not an issue.
And this square that you've added here, that's your house?
Yes, that's
Okay.
15. Before my house is 7. My mother is the next house up.
Yep,
going up
gotcha.
the hill is 25.
Okay.
Archambault, former Archambault, they moved was, I believe,
27.
27, and then Buddy and Cheryl Roachford are 33, I
Okay.
believe.
And the topography, does it go downward from the applicant's property towards you, or are they level, or is your property a little
Close to
higher?
level,
Close
close
to
to
level.
level, but we're both at the bottom of the hill. As I said, the green water tower up on top of Cedar Street is the highest point. Basically, Prospect Street is the lowest point there, and then from that point, it goes back uphill to Warren Woods. So Prospect Street's basically from Elliott Street into Holliston is the valley floor of the hills from two sides.
Okay. Did you see that? I just want to pass it around so Nate can see it as well.
I was trying to find the map that shows,
Yeah.
I can't find it though.
Now, I guess, am I correct in saying that your primary concern is that by building this accessory family unit, that would increase or potentially increase the flooding
Possible.
on your property?
Possible, yes. Without a basement, I don't know if that would be the case, but I would think any movement of soils in that particular area where, I don't know if it's technically considered a floodplain, but there are, within 100 to 150 feet of that area, there are vernal pools. The water table is fairly high in that location.
Where's the map then? So it looks like we've drawn the wet area belongs to the address of 242 Prospect Street, next door to these folks. It looks like their property goes way back, almost as far back as the Grimes, but between your homes and their homes.
So they own the stream then, not the Grimes.
That appears,
Is that,
That's what I'm looking at. I mean, I'm on my phone, on the Mass GIS
okay.
website.
My sister speaks better than I do, and she's,
You can't invade a phone.
Okay.
You need actual plans, a phone. I mean, we should all put down phones for recording. But
Sure.
beyond that, let's not be making decisions off of phones.
Okay,
Maps on phones.
all right. I can't print my phone.
she's the one in law school, not me.
Yeah.
She knows.
fine, but if we're looking at a map, the phone is a good tool to look at the map.
It's a tool, but not to make a decision based on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else you'd like, any other questions for the gentleman, Mr. Mims?
Nope.
Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, that was my concern. I
Okay,
just wanted to
thank
bring
you.
that up to you, and I appreciate the time that you've given me.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Have a seat. We ask you folks to step back up and let's talk about this stream and whose property it's on, and
Out of my
we can
wheelhouse.
go from there. Based on what Brian indicated, the map seems to show, is the stream on your neighbor's property or is it on yours?
That'd
It's
be
on
on
our
their property.
neighbors.
Okay. How far from your property line is the stream?
So I guess it's hard, what do you
Approximately.
define as a stream, right? Like
Yeah, that wet spot, I don't know.
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
wanna
our
say
dog goes in there and comes back with his legs wet, like I don't
I mean, it's
consider
a-
it a stream,
It sounded like, if I'm characterizing what
right?
Mr. Mims said, that it's something that's not wet all the time, it's not a stream constantly flowing. I'm guessing that in the springtime, when we get water runoff from the winter snow melt and whatever, that there's a stream in there. there's running water in there, and that if there's a tremendous amount of rain, it probably fills up a little bit, but it's not something that's there all the time. Let me ask you this with respect to flooding. Have you had problems with water in the basement from this?
We have a sump pump, so
Okay.
we haven't had to deal with that.
When you proposed your plans
Mhm.
with your architect or
Mhm.
builder,
Yeah.
had any discussion been conducted with regard to potential water issues?
They did talk about it for a basement, probably putting in some sort of French drain or something, knowing that we have a sump pump anyway, so for this other portion, you would wanna keep that the same. So, again, we haven't gotten into a whole lot of detail about it, because we haven't seen it as a huge problem, but certainly it's been talked about.
And I'm not sure what relevance this may have, but the half underground, half above ground remnants of a garage.
I have no idea. I know my
This is the first.
13-year-old son finds car parts in the woods sometimes, but isn't that everyone's woods?
But
I know, I don't. Again,
I can see
I'm
where,
I'm not as old as Reggie.
Yeah, nobody is.
I can see where it was. It looked like they had started to clear some land out back there, so I could see where it was, but that, if you follow up where their house would be, right here on Prospect Street in the plans, it would go straight back.
Okay.
So that, where it comes down, we actually have the water, they've directed it, and it runs through our front yard, as I said, through a culvert, across through to Holliston. The one time that we've had some bad backups, the Holliston did pull a dead deer out of the culvert,
I hate
so I knew there was an issue with that.
Mm-hmm, okay.
That was the front yard.
The front yard, excuse me.
And so where was the garage again?
Probably from the house at 242 Prospect Street, maybe back about 100 to 125 feet. So not quite parallel to the Grimes home, probably a little closer to Prospect Street from there, but almost directly behind 242.
And that whole area back there is almost like wetlands marsh.
Okay.
And that's been that way since we've
Is-
been in
Is that the
house.
area you're talking about, Reggie?
Yes, that's most of the area, but it, like I said, it comes from behind the house, from off the hill. It all feeds downhill, gravity.
Gotcha. I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Well, would anyone else like to
Do
speak?
you want to have anything? Why don't you folks step down, and anyone else wish to be heard?
I'm gonna head out, I gotta go to work early in the morning.
Okay, all right,
Thank you
talk
very
to you
much,
later.
everyone.
Thanks for coming.
And if you could just identify yourself, name and address, please.
Sure, it's Pam Mims, and I live at 20, but I own a couple houses there in Raymond Way. I think I commend you for your parents. I think that's great. It's wonderful that you should do that. Every child should do that. I think that's wonderful. However, I do have some concerns in terms of the plans here. And I would say in terms of, you're wondering about the garage and relevance, absolutely relevant because of oil, hazardous material. So you really need to know what's in the ground. You absolutely have to know that. You can't just make an assumption, assuming a garage, nothing in it. What do we keep in garage? Cars, oil, hazardous materials, paint supplies. So you have to know what's in the ground, So that's really important. The other issue, lots of focus around the water. There is quite a bit of water up there. There's vernal pools. So in terms of vernal pools, I don't have the exact setback in terms of building near a vernal pool, but you cannot build near a vernal pool. I can speak from experience. When I built my home back years ago, I actually had to go before the wetlands group for the state of Massachusetts. Had to call them in, had to pay them to come in to observe the area and to actually give their seal approval. This before the town of Ashland. So if you look back farther enough in your records, you will find that. So it's important to determine how much water, what kind of water, what's gonna happen to the area. can't just make assumptions that, oh, it should be okay. There is a lot of water in Ashland. In matter of fact, in speaking to the wetland group of the state of Massachusetts, they said this whole area is wet, including Ashland. That's why most people have sump pumps in their basement, and you haven't experienced an issue because you have a sump pump. Sump pump's actually not a solution. It's not a remedy to the water solution, but you have a sump pump. Most people do. It's not really the solution. However, having a sump pump in your basement indicates there is a problem. So because there is a problem, it is necessary to call in, say, the state of Massachusetts or a wetland expert. You need to call in a wetland group. By approving plans without calling in a wetland expert would be the assumption that there's no issue. And the assumption would be based on your thoughts. It's because it's not really based on any facts and it's not really based on any evidence. So I don't know how you could come to the assumption that there wouldn't be an issue with water. If I can tell you, speaking from experience of my own experience, having to call in the wetland group for the state of Massachusetts. So I think it's important, and as you stated, confirming that you have a sump pump, then obviously there is a problem. So we can establish that there's absolutely a problem with water. Maybe it's on someone else's land, I don't know. But one thing I do know is once you move land, water becomes an issue. So it's extremely important to call somebody in based on that. But I can say some of the other issues that I have in terms of this. The application itself is not complete. So when I look at this application, and based on this, and I'll just read the application back to you, I'm sure you're aware of the application. All applications must, underlined, include a fully completed application form, all required documents, and a check full amount made to the town of Ashland. Any application not complete may lead to the Zoning Board of Appeals issuing a denial without prejudice. Now, when I look at this application, I didn't have the luxury of seeing the plans. I only had the luxury of seeing what was online because the document that was sent, the postcard, which I have here, that was sent instructs me to go online. So I didn't have the luxury of seeing the plans. So that's very, very concerning that, a decision would be sought based on incomplete application.
I'm going to interrupt you here to ask you, have you received the plan now?
No, I'm looking at it online, the latest that I've seen, so I haven't seen anything. I haven't had the luxury, but I can tell you in terms of time,
Would you like more
that's
time
absolutely,
to
yeah, I would have to have
receive the
time to
plan?
review it, but let me just tell you something, if you don't mind if I can complete
No, you
here.
continue.
Thank you. The application's not complete. So that is concerning. So what I would say, that an incomplete application would clearly set precedent that anyone that would come in here with an incomplete application would be great. You would have to review it, and you would have to vote on it one way or the other. So I guess it concerns me that we're even having this discussion with an incomplete application, because now you've set precedent that anyone that comes through here, including myself, with an incomplete application, you have to listen to it because you have set precedent at this point. So it's very, very concerning that you would actually even go through this, and whoever put it together, I don't know. It's not really in my wheelhouse, not really my concern. What is my concern is, one, it's incomplete. So that's one issue. Another issue here, and this is the application, this goes towards the application, is we have the letter from the denial from the building permit. I don't have that letter, I haven't seen it. I don't even know what it looks like. I don't even know why it was denied. I don't know, I have no details. It's a problem. The next thing, the abutters list, it's actually not accurate because there is a home up there that is sold. So that's an issue too.
There is a what?
The abutters list. The abutters list is here.
But what did you say about it? You said it's not complete?
It's not accurate because has been a home that has sold. There's been a home that has been sold in the area, and the abutters that are on this list are the old abutters. Okay?
The
So-
abutters list is obtained from the assessor's office.
I,
We don't do anything about it. The applicant doesn't do anything about it. It's what's obtained from the assessor's office is what is supposed to be sent out, and what in fact, I believe, was sent out in this instance.
the home was sold in September. If I go to the assessor's office tomorrow morning, and that home is in the new person's name, which I suspect it is, because when property transfers, it transfers immediately. It's not a transfer of a delay, then that list should be updated. If it's not updated with the town of Ashland, It's the town of Ashland issue. But I can tell you, it's coming straight from the state. So you know, you can
What is
say,
the home you're speaking of?
it's 27 Raymond Way. The Archibalds are no longer there. Their name's on the list. So that's a problem. And if you're saying the town of Ashland didn't update it, well, then maybe I have an issue with the town of Ashland, because they sold it over 2 months ago. So I suspect it's probably accurate. This is an old list. So then it talks about here, a certified copy. I've never seen the certified copy, and it's not out there online. And if you have it in front of you, you have the luxury. I don't. I should be able to see it. I should be able to have all the documents. So those are just a couple concerns. So that is, those are some of the concerns with the application. I can just simply tell you now, incomplete application sets a precedent. Anyone that comes down here with the incomplete application, you have to move on it. You cannot not move on it, because you're setting precedents here today, right now. So that's one. Okay, so, as I was saying about the oil, there's relevance in terms of the oil in the garage. Don't know. You really don't know. The water is definitely an issue, so it needs to be assessed by the state of Massachusetts, or you need to have a water expert come in, check out the land. It's extremely important. Now, I have,
Can I interrupt you for just 1 second?
sure,
Could you specify the issue about the garage? Is the old garage, is that on the Grimes property?
I don't know where the garage is, honestly, I don't. But I'm just,
You don't know
the
where-
garage is right there, and you're stating it's not on your property, but I don't know that. The only thing is, I'm hearing is that it is, maybe that's hearsay, I don't know, and you can take it as hearsay. But I don't know that it's not on your property or not.
You know,
Right, nobody knows, because that's why you need the experts to come in and do a topography of the ground so that you do know.
to me, the subject of a garage seems to be a red herring, because it's nowhere, apparently from what everybody who's addressed the issue of a garage, it's nowhere near what's proposed to be built, unless I'm totally missing what people have been saying. So,
I need clarification where this garage is.
I do too, that'd be great.
There's no garage, there's no structure.
The structure's underground, so you're gonna have to look for, the concern with anything underground, you can all laugh, but there's hazardous materials. That's why in the
nobody's
state of.
laughing, ma'am, nobody's
Okay.
laughing.
It's not our property.
We just need to
Okay.
wait for you to come up to speak at the microphone.
Sorry.
Okay.
We can hear you, but the thousands of people in Ashland that are watching us on WACA can't.
I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, garages are important because of hazardous material. That's what's important about it. It's not the structure and the brick and the mortar. It's hazardous material. And as we know, Superfund site in Ashland, Nyanza, it's important. That's what makes it relevant. Now, if it's not on your property, but everyone is questioning where the garage is. I'd love to know where it is too. I know it's there on the property, but I haven't played in it, like my brother and my family members.
You're saying it's on their property?
It's on the property, I'm not sure.
What property is,
It's
are you
either at
talking about?
242 or 244, and as I understand, it's 244.
So you're saying it is on their property?
That's what I'm saying, but I don't have documentation, and I haven't pulled the records from the town of Ashland to prove that now. I'm happy to do that.
Well, I don't think that would be necessary. I think the town can review that and clarify that information, as long as we know what the issue
Okay.
is.
So, a couple other facts here, in terms of the water, just pulling, Mass General Laws 280, 14, in terms of the burden of proof in terms of the water, it lies on yourself or the applicant, I would say, to determine about the water. So that's why if you want to look up, under Mass General Laws 280-14, it's there, and that is something that lies on yourself as the applicant, so. All right, a few other issues here. I did go back and take a look at your minutes from a past meeting, And this is one meeting back, I believe it was in, June 11, 2019. And it does talk about providing a special permit, so people can have their grandparents or parents come and stay and actually move in with them. Maura Hunter at 30 Pennacock Road was one case that came before you. You did approve it for a basement. Makes sense. I can understand that, wanting to do that for your parents. That would be great. Adding an additional structure for a size of, what did you state, 746 or 780 square feet of the structure?
Under 800, yep.
Under 800.
Yep.
But from what I heard is we're assuming the size of the house based on the 800. That's not the approach. We don't really know the size of the house. Nobody seems to know that. But we're assuming it based on the 800 square feet. So what is the size of the house? I mean, I distinctly heard, and I think the room heard, that nobody knew what the size of the house was.
The
So-
criteria,
It's not irrelevant.
No,
Right.
no,
It's not irrelevant because you have to have 25%, and if you're gonna
no,
base.
no, it's 25% of the square footage
Of the-
or 800 square feet. This is less than 800
Okay.
square feet, so
Okay.
that would be the minimum. So it would qualify, and we will add up the square footage to make sure it comes to that, because the plans do have room by room what the square footage is.
we'll just put it as a condition that it is under 800 square
Yeah.
feet.
And then, some of my other concerns, I have plans that I printed offline. And, based on my plans, not a whole lot here in terms of the plans, I see this, I don't have second floor on here at all, on the first house. So we could get past not putting the second floor on. But the first floor, it's interesting because I don't know whether there's gonna be a kitchen on the first floor. Do we have 2 kitchens? Do we have 1 kitchen? I don't see it there. Maybe it's in your plans. Again, I don't have luxuries of seeing those plans. I'm a butter. I should be able to see those plans. So, I don't know. I can't tell by my little kind of skimpy view on what's online. And that's what the town of Ashland actually put out there. So, this looks much larger than 800 square feet to me. This is basically all I have. And it's, this is all I can go by. And if you don't have the appropriate documentations online, and you're directing people to go to online, it's just inappropriate. It's really not, I would say if I was in trial, I'd say it's a mistrial, because it does set you up for a situation that you're, that would mean that if I decide to do something with my home, add to it or do whatever, then I can provide this level of, I can, mark up some drawings. They're not certified, and in the application says they have to be certified. They're not. So I can provide uncertified copy, and maybe you have that, but I don't have it. And I could provide in here, it asks questions specifically about description of relief sought. It's not filled out. I could do the same thing. In other words, I don't really even have to fill anything out. I could sign my name to it and say, I need you to approve it. And you can't force me to make it complete. It doesn't have to be complete, because this is an incomplete application. I'm surprised the committee, nothing, I'm not looking at the committee, but I'm surprised the committee would actually accept it and actually move forward with even a discussion tonight based on this, because it's not complete. So if that's the type of work that's going through, then you're setting precedent. You're setting a nice, strong precedent. For anyone else that needs anything else done in town or wants anything done, it's easy to set precedents now because of this.
Thank you. I think we've been through the precedent part. Do you have any other concerns?
So, let's see. No, I think that's all that I have, but I absolutely, you heard the issues?
Yep.
Want to address the issues? And I think it's important. If she's going to rebut, then I would like an opportunity to come back if necessary. Thank you
Of
for your time.
course.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Why don't you come back up on the podium if you would?
Just so you know, I'm not an attorney, so I'll do my best on this.
I'm sorry.
Of course.
We were having a little
Sure.
question and answer
Tell me
back
when
to
you're
you,
ready.
that's all right.
I was just saying I'm not an attorney, but I will try to do my best to
Fine.
I'm not an
rebut.
attorney either.
So in terms of the application being complete, from what I understand, I've spent more time in this building in the last 6 months. I've worked with Peter, I've worked with Emma. You guys, as far as I know, have everything you need. If that's not the case, then obviously let us know. But again, as far as we knew, everything is complete. We also have spent the last 6 to 8 months not only researching this, talking to architects, talking to contractors about what the best placement of this addition would be. We started in Holliston, then we came to Ashland. Again, we've spent more time in this building to talk about where the best place is. So again, this didn't happen yesterday. We didn't just decide, oh, we're gonna build this great structure for mom and dad. In terms of this garage, I really don't have anything to say. I've never seen a building next to us in the woods.
Is there a
I've seen
depression or a
nothing.
hole
I don't
in the
know.
ground?
There is not a depression, there is not a hole, I have no idea what it is. All I can tell you is there's a fenced-off area in the back of the Domesticos house, where was the Domesticos house, and from looking at the property line, it goes back parallel with ours. I don't know in terms of where it was located, where it was. The structure was never there when we purchased the house in 2003,
Okay.
1. It was never there. So I can't, according to us, this is the first time that I've ever heard that there was a structure.
Okay.
And then in terms of the wetlands, I do know for a fact there's a vernal pool across so it goes our house, this little stream area, houses, Raymond Way, and then houses, and then there is a vernal pool. I know that for a fact. This, like I said, we've worked with architects and contractors, and I don't think anyone wants to build a structure that's gonna, ruin the land next to ours. That certainly is not the intention.
And you're not in a floodplain zone?
No.
Emmett, can I see the application again? That second page.
How do we know she's not in a floodplain zone? And I'm speaking out of turn, I absolutely can use it. How do we know that?
He went, yeah. You want me to answer that? I know I think it was our contractor and our architect, you can go online and pull it, and it was not, nor do we carry flood insurance.
On the application, in paragraph 4, under additional information, talks about real estate taxes paid, is the parcel on the scenic road, is an amendment to a previously issued special permit, date that the structure was built. And then the final question is the property within 100 feet of a wetland, within 200 feet of a stream, or in a floodplain? And the answer is no. Have you ever received any notification or information that your property or part of your property is in a wetland as designated by the Ashland Conservation Commission?
No. And I never knew there was a stream there either.
Within 200 feet of a stream. Is something considered a stream if
A
for
seasonal
part of the
wetness?
year
No.
it's,
Yes, it is.
A seasonal wetness is a stream?
Yes, it is. I can tell you that.
Okay.
You can go ahead and look it up.
I
but
will.
can tell you that.
Seasonal.
Seasonal as it comes and goes, vernal pools come and go as well. So absolutely. And you wouldn't necessarily receive notice from the Conservation Commission. They're not gonna tell you that you're in a floodplain. They're not gonna tell you you have wetland. That's why you're calling a wetland expert to tell you whether you do or not. And the state of Massachusetts will tell you that. Town of Ashland will not.
So if this wetland is on private property, does
Doesn't
that matter or not matter?
it may.
I'm a little concerned because I wanna be hearing from the zoning board what we should be doing. I don't need to be
No, I
hearing from
understand,
other people
we're not,
what we should be doing.
she's here as a,
I
as a
understand,
public
but-
citizen, talking, she's not running the meeting, and she's not intending to run the meeting, and we're listening to her, what her position has been, and we will consider that as well as the other issues and how to appeal. And ultimately, if we were to grant the special permit, it all revolves ultimately around your receiving a building permit from the building commissioner, who I have full confidence is not gonna let you build anything,
Right.
even if the zoning board of appeals approved the use, that is not being built, in accordance with the bylaws and the laws of, the town of Ashland. But, yes, Emma?
Generally, the building commissioner and the conservation agent do work hand in hand. And so if this proceeds forward and they find that, the conservation agent needs them to go in front of the conservation commission,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would happen after this process.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't really been triggered
That's
yet.
what we were told, like,
Yeah.
this was the first step,
It would make
and then,
sense.
right,
Because if we were to deny the application, there'd be no need to
right.
go before them to do
Right.
anything. Okay. Any other questions for these folks? No. Okay, fine, why don't you step down?
May I make another comment or two?
Certainly.
Thank you. What I'd like to see here is a completed application. I think that's important. And also the plans. I haven't seen them. Don't have the luxury of seeing them. So if you have access to them, I'd like to see them.
Emma, do you have a copy of the plan that was submitted tonight that you can show,
You can actually just,
Ms. Mims?
can you email it to me? Or,
We have it right here
I
for you to
can-
look at now,
I
ma'am.
mean, I'll look at it now, but I think email's better because I need some time. I would ask for the luxury of time.
I will give you this copy.
Okay.
And I
Can you
will-
email me a copy as well?
Yes. Do you wanna just give me your email after the meeting?
Sure, I can give it to you now, it doesn't matter. Or I mean, probably after the meeting, since this is recording. I
On
don't-
TV, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be the only thing, is that I'm asking, I wanna see the completed application. I really wanna see everything complete. I don't,
I will ensure that the site plan that was, given tonight, and as well as the building inspector's,
The denial.
denial letter,
yeah.
is on the website tomorrow.
And I don't think it's appropriate that I should have to go out there and look out the laws and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I think that should be, it's in the application, it does ask for it. So that's why it's there, so people, as citizens, don't have to go out and start looking for things. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Mims has asked for some time to review the plan that was submitted this evening. Do we wish to continue the matter, to grant her time and then come back to discuss? Or do we wish to proceed?
I would like to continue the matter. There's a few things on the application requirements that we require as a committee that aren't quite there, as Pam noticed, or noted, I'm sorry. And I think that to cross all our Ts and dot all our Is, we should completely fill out that application, get the plans back, and have this whole list of stuff done, so that we can then grant a special permit, if that's the case, with no issues. Do you have a question?
I do, cause I sat with Peter and filled out the application, so I'm not clear.
Well, there's a couple of spots on the back that, could you tell me what they are again?
So the description of the relief sought.
Description of the relief sought.
We interpreted that as needing being needed when,
Yeah.
they were looking for a variance. But that might just be Peter and I learning
Let's
the
fill it
application,
in
and I
that you would like a
apologize.
place for your parents to live, and, there was a second one on there, and
Yeah, the three,
Can you point out to where we need to?
sure, why don't you step up to the microphone, again,
Yeah.
sorry to have you jumping back and forth there.
good for you.
It's fine.
Better than going to the
No.
gymnasium.
That's right, I can
Um,
skip that tomorrow.
I have the application in front of me.
So,
and,
yeah, number
yeah,
5 and number 6.
I think what Brian is referencing, there were 3 spots that were
couple
empty.
spots,
Okay,
Number 5 was,
and all
no,
of that.
excuse me, ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, we will tell them what needs to be completed. Thank you.
thank you.
Item number 5 is description of the relief sought and to attach a letter of denial of building permit.
Right.
Emma is going to take care of that, so that will be attached. What specific zoning bylaws is this application associated with? We've talked about them, they're listed in the notice of the public meeting, but in order to get the application technically fully complete, we can fill that out as well.
Okay.
And then paragraph number 7, existing use and condition of the property and surrounding neighborhood. Please list all relevant nonconformities. A brief description of the surrounding neighborhood and the fact that the frontage is 100 feet rather than 150 feet, because that is an existing nonconformity.
Pre-existing non.
Pre-existing
Just remember
nonconformity,
those words.
Okay.
technically. It was correct as of the date, I'm not, I mean, the abutters list that was
Right.
attached to the
I was
application
gonna say that.
is signed by the Director of Assessing and dated October 9th, 2019, and this board is not going to look behind what the Board of Assessor has, or the assessor rather, excuse me, has certified as the abutters list. And also attached to the application will be the site plan that was filed tonight. And having that available, we'll have that online, as Emma said, tomorrow, so that you'll be able to access it online. We can come back in 2 weeks, which is our next scheduled meeting, the 4th Tuesday of the month. That is Thanksgiving week, so if people have plans to be away, we need to make sure that at least 3 of us will be available. If not, we would have to come back on the 2nd Tuesday in December.
Mr. Chairman, I can tell you I have plans for
Okay,
attending Thanksgiving elsewhere.
yes. I understand. Nate, same for you as well? Okay. Then I think that means we're going to have to continue it for
December 10th.
December 10th. At which point, I would fully expect that we would make a decision, unless there is some unexpected information that comes at that hearing. Okay.
Can I make one last statement?
Certainly, if you don't mind.
This is my statement. I'm not
Look, you
adverse.
gotta do the thing.
I'm not adverse to allowing or building out for parents. So I want to set the record straight on that. I'm not adverse to that. I'm adverse to extending a building. That's what I'm averse to. So it's the building, it's the structure. I think, and you have, as you mentioned earlier when you opened, that you have approved structures building out in the basement or in the original structure. I'm not adverse to that, because it's the original structure and you're not disturbing the ground. Again, it's my aversion towards the additional structure. That's the issue.
Thank you.
So I just did want to say that for the record, okay? Thank you.
That being said, is there a motion to continue the hearing to Tuesday, you said it was December 10th?
10th. So moved.
at 7:05.
So
Yeah.
moved.
I don't know that we'll have business before it, so we can
Okay,
start
then
at
why don't we
7.
do it 7 o'clock sharp? We won't waste 5 minutes.
Sure. So moved.
Is there a second? Nate seconded, all in favor?
Nate's-
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Let me just stop this, I'm sorry.
Yeah, ask Emma.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanna stop this, okay.
It's a bummer, another month delays, but
I'm sorry?
it's a bummer for them, another month of delays. But it's that time of year, everything's getting pushed.
You got it? V is in Victor, Mims at post.harvard.edu. Thank you.
And we do have more business.
Yeah, she's quick side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Good
you
evening.
too.
Bye-bye.
These mics are open, gentlemen. These mics are open, gentlemen.
We can't really talk about it. Good job in the parking lot.
This is the one that has the drawing of the wet spot. I think we need that.
Yes,
for-
we do need that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to give this to Emma. You know, while Emma is otherwise occupied, why don't we go to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes from our June 25th, 2019 meeting. Emma included that document in our package of materials. And did anyone have any proposed questions or changes?
No, I think the only issue was the spelling of my name.
That was on the June 25th, or was that on the July one, Stu?
I think June 25th. No, July.
We didn't wait for you, Emma, we moved right on to approval of the
No,
minutes.
I think that's great.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Maybe if someone could just notate the amendments, and then
Yeah.
I can take that copy.
we'll do
Okay.
it. Yeah, we'll do it fine.
Where did they misspell your name?
No, that was in July, the
Oh,
July
and the-
minutes, so we're gonna
Line
deal for the
26.
moment for June 25th.
All right, so we're on the,
Let's stick with June 25th
okay.
for the time being, and we'll
Works for
change
me.
it on when we get to July. I had no changes, things looked
I had no
okay.
changes to June 25th.
I'm good with them.
Okay, and Nate, I think you have to abstain because you weren't a member. Okay, motion to approve the minutes, June 25th, 2019.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Second?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay, approved 3-0. And next was approval of the minutes for our very brief July 9th, 2019 meeting, when we approved several sets of minutes that had been outstanding. And Stu, you had a change on that one on
Was it line 26?
line 26, I believe, yes. Your name is spelled correctly in many other locations, but
Not there.
not there. So with the amendment of the correct spelling of your name on line 26, any other changes?
No,
If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Nate abstains, and we are good on that. Only other brief matter is, we have a potential, we have a person who has expressed interest in a position as an associate member. He had filled out a talent bank form several months ago. Our policy is to have the individual come before us, chat with them, and then make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, who are the Select Board, excuse me, who is the appointing party. Unfortunately, we hadn't had a meeting where he could come and participate, and he was unavailable to be here tonight. I will notify him of our December 10th meeting, and hopefully if he is still interested, and hopefully he will be, he'll be able to attend, and we can all meet him and talk about things. Any other administrative matters or issues?
Is it appropriate to determine if Rob is still interested, or if he just couldn't attend tonight?
Certainly, he is listed, he has been reappointed as an associate member, starting on September 1st, and his term expires on August 31st, 2020. So I assume he is, but I will let him know of the December 10th meeting, and hope he can attend.
Good, thank you.
Very good. If there's no other matters, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Abstained. Thank you very much.